What up, guys? Today we have a question about a militant coach who is running people off from his gym. So this is a gym owner coach question. We're going to call him Coach Bob because Coach Bob is a relatively well-known person. We were talking on Instagram recently, and but he sends me the message. He says that basically in his gym, he's there to push people to be competitors and things like that, and win and things like that. That's his mindset when he's there to train. He's not there for chit chat. He's there to drill, to do techniques of rolling. And he wants to get in there and get the reps in with everybody. He says, though, that sort of attitude, that militancy is affecting people negatively, and it seems to run people off. And so he's curious as how do you get people to stick around? How do you get people to stick? But how do you make sure that you're making them as good as you can and you're building them to be as tough as you can? So it'll be a good question. So thanks for the question, Bob. Any of the coaches maybe that this relates with. So we were talking about this. I'm going to relay kind of the message that I gave to him. And so the thing is, if you're running a situation like this where you're trying to develop these people and make them as tough and as technical and as good as you can, right? Sometimes you have to straddle a certain line. So you have to consider what people are coming to you for, right? Because people are coming to you for a myriad of different reasons. It's not the same thing. There will be people that come to you that will end up being your competitors, right? There are those people. They're typically fewer, but they're there, right? You'll also have the people that are your hobbyists that are hardcore hobbyists that then sort of become competitors at periods of time, right? They are a bit more numerous. But more than likely, your bread and butter as a gym owner is going to be people that are there to be hobbyists. Now, I want to make sure we're clear on this. I don't use this in any derogatory term, right? I know sometimes people talk about hobbyists with almost like a sort of snobbishness, right? I'm not saying that at all because there's something wrong with that. That's what they're there for. I don't expect some guy that's coming into me who's holding down like a business, has like a full family and all these other obligations to then drop his whole life to go compete, right? That's not his thing. He's a hobbyist, right? So again, it's fine, but that's the bulk of your people, right? So one of the things that I think is important, I'm kind of going back here a little bit, is to make sure you're clear also with what you want. So you're having these people come to you, they have something they want, and then you as a gym owner, you have a vision for what you want. You should. You want this vision. What does it look like to you, right? And if your vision entails having absolutely no hobbyists, no regular, Joes and Janes that come into your gym that just train, that they're not there to just get down every single day, that do want to chit chat and hang out a little bit. If you don't have any of that, then what I would say is I would make sure you basically direct them to a gym that might help them. I do this sometimes. Sometimes people will come to me and they're they want very specific stuff. Maybe they want Krav or something. I'm like, well, go to this gym. They've got Jiu-Jitsu and Krav. I don't have that stuff. You know what I mean? So again, there's different things, or even sometimes I'll tell people, if they're coming out to my gym, I'm like, well, try these other gyms too. Get a look at them, see which one you like. Get a feel for it, right? But you need to have a vision for what you want. So this way you can sort of give people, either send them somewhere else, or you can find a way to include them. Now, for me, the way that I look at it, I like having a lot of those hobbyists around. I'm also one of those guys where I like to have those hard training sessions, where we're going to get down and get after it. But I also like to have those sessions where we're also training and we're also kind of bullshitting a little bit. Because again, that's, for me, the jiu-jitsu is just as much of a social, communal thing as it is the actual training technique thing. So what I like to do is I like to give people their space, having certain classes for certain purposes, right? This class is for those purposes. This class is for those purposes. So, you know what I mean? I'm going to have beginner classes where I can get some of these new white belts up to speed so that then they can come to the integrated, intermediate, and advanced classes and work in with us. And then, on our Monday session, it's going to be a 2-hour plus long session, and we are going to get down and get after it. This whole mat is going to be a mess of sweat when we're done with it, and it's going to be a blast. Tuesday at 5, it's an hour-long class. We're going to get you some good fundamentals in. We're going to get a little bit of rolling in. It's not nearly as intense, though, right? And then you let people figure out where they want to go. You give them the option to come to these places, but you don't make them. You say, hey, this is for you. This is your place if you want it, or you can come to this place too. Again, that's if you want to do what I like doing. I like having that. I like having that mixture of people because I think it adds a different flavor. And one thing that I found is that a lot of times, by giving people these different levels of classes is sometimes people work into them, and before you know it, a couple years later, they're one of your toughest roles. They're one of your toughest competitors or whatever it might be, because they had places to sort of work their way up, opposed to being thrown into this sort of more militant class structure, whatever it might be. So again, bro, going to you, that's up to you what you want. I would, again, sort of tune into what your vision is for your gym, just like they have a vision for what they want to get out of this thing. And if you can make that match and you can give them a place, I think that's a good idea, having different classes for different purposes. And if not, if you don't want any hobbyists or any of those types of people in your gym, then you just basically say, here's what I'm about. There's nothing wrong with that. Saying like, this is what we do here, and this is what I'm about. If you're down with this, come on with me. If not, here's the gym down the street. They'll take better care of you for the purposes that you want to get out of jiu-jitsu. So just an idea to chew on, Coach Bob, and I'll talk to you guys next time.